Now we come again to the periodic table we were discussing. So we had discussed that the number of period which is mentioned here is actually indicating that which is the principal shell in which the electron goes in these particular periods. Okay, it was told. Also I told that always S and P are corresponding to the main principal shell or the number of period. If suppose it is fifth period, so S and P for this number of period will be 5S and 5P. Okay, but D will be one less than S and P, and F will be still one more less than D, or you can say 2 less than S and P. Existence of F orbital or F subshell begins from 6th and 7th period. Okay, so you have to remember in periodic table that period number 1 is having only 2 elements, hydrogen and helium. Period number 2nd and 3rd, these 2 periods are having only 8 electrons filled in 2s, 2p and 3s and 3p. Period number 4 and 5, these are having 18 electrons. Okay, the number of electrons in 4 and 5 are 18 being filled in 4s and 5s. 4s will have d electrons in 3d and 5s will have its d electron in 4d. Okay, then 6th and 7th, these 2 periods have 32 elements in it. So these two 8 electrons, or you can say 8 elements. 4th and 5th period has 18 elements. 6th and 7th period have 32 elements. Okay, including these F block elements. This is about the whole periodic table, how they are classified. Okay, now if we see to the filling of electrons which we were talking about, I told that these 2 periods are S block elements from period number 1 to period number 2nd, including group number 1 and group number 2. These are S block elements. Okay, S block elements means the last electron in these elements enter in the S subshell or S orbital. Okay, similarly one more thing, this first group is actually known as alkali. The elements present in this group are known as alkali metals. Alkali metals, why they are called alkali metals? Because these metals which are present in this group form alkali when dissolved in water. Now one more thing is there in the periodic table. When you face towards the periodic table, so left hand side and right hand side, so left hand side of the periodic table consists of metals. These have metallic character. These are metals, and metals form hydroxides which are basic in nature. So metal hydroxides are basic in nature, means when metals react with oxygen they form oxides. For example, if I take example magnesium, Mg plus O2 will form MgO. This magnesium oxide is a basic oxide. Why it is a basic oxide? Because when this MgO is dissolved in water, it will form magnesium hydroxide, and magnesium hydroxide is a base. So metal oxides of this group number 1 and group number 2 are basic in character. Okay, and those bases like MgOH whole twice is a base. Those bases which are soluble in water are known as alkali. Okay, so these are alkali metals because the metals of this group form alkali when dissolved in water. This group number 2nd is known as alkaline earth metals. They also form alkali, but they are also formed in the crust of earth. That is why they are called alkaline earth metals. Okay, means in the crust of earth these elements which are present in this group are present. So these are called alkaline earth metals. Okay, now The elements which are present in the 7th period, like francium, like radium, in the group number 1 and group number 2, these all elements present in group number 7 are radioactive elements. Most of them are radioactive in nature. Okay, so this group is radioactive, hence the elements which are present in this particular period, their properties are not much known. Why their properties? Because radioactive substances are always unstable, so their lifespan or life duration is very small, so they are not studied properly. We are not able to study their properties in a proper manner, so very less is known about these elements which are radioactive in nature, and hence whenever we talk about the groups, we don't talk about the radioactive elements because we don't know about their properties, so we will not talk much about them. Very little is known. Okay, these are the two groups. These are S block elements. When it comes to the outer electronic configuration of these elements or S block elements, an outer electronic configuration of these elements can be written as NS122. Means N may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. The electrons in these elements which are present in group number 1 and 2, either it will be NS1 or it will be NS2. Okay, is this clear? What is outer electronic configuration? Means suppose if I write for potassium, then it will be 4s1. If I write for calcium, it will be 4s2. That means NS122, either 1 or 2. This is outer electronic configuration. Outer means inner to it all are full and the last is 4s1 or 4s2. For this it is 4s1, for this it is 4s2. So outer electronic configuration of S block element is NS122. Okay. Now we come to P block elements. In P block elements, you can see that they are starting from 13 and ending at 18th group. Okay, these elements are P block elements because the last electron in them are entering in P subshell. Take example of oxygen. Suppose oxygen atomic number is 8. Oxygen atomic number is 8. So it will be 1s2, 2s2. Then 2p. 2 and 2, 4 are filled, 4 more are left. So there will be 4 electrons in P. The structure will be like this. Because P has 3 orbitals, P subshell has 3 orbitals. 1, 2, 3 and 4th electron will pair up. So 2 electrons are still unpaired in case of oxygen. Because the last electron, 1, 2, 3 and 4th, this one is the last electron. It is entering in P subshell. Hence it is called as P block element. Okay. When it is oxygen, it is 2p4. When it is fluorine, it will be 2p5. And when it is neon, it will be 2p6. That means we can write that outer electronic configuration of P block elements is NS2. Okay. Means from here if we start, then you are seeing that 2s2 is written. Okay, already 2s2 is written. Then NS2, NP1 to 6. From 1 to 6 it may be present. Means if it is for boron, it will be NP1, carbon NP2, nitrogen NP3, oxygen NP4, NP5, NP6. So from 1 to 6 and S is already full when we start. You can see 2s2 is already full. Then it goes in 2p according to the particular element. Okay. So outer electronic configuration we have discussed. Then these elements, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. I told you that the elements which are present in the period number 7 are radioactive, and some elements here are also radioactive in nature. For example, astatine, radon, these are also radioactive in nature. Okay. Now these elements are known as halogens. fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. This particular group number 17 is known as halogen group. Halogen means salt forming. Most of the salts are formed by the elements of this group. For example, sodium chloride is a salt, magnesium chloride is a salt, okay, magnesium bromide is a salt. So these are salt forming elements, hence this is known as halogens. Group number 18, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. These are noble gases, inert gases, okay. So this period is of inert gases, last group, sorry, not period. This 18th group is for noble gases, okay. These present in group number 16, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. This particular group is known as chalcogens. Chalcogens are ore forming. Most of the ores of different minerals or different metals in nature are formed by oxides or sulfides. Means most of the ores are either oxide, iron oxide, aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is bauxite ore, okay. So most of the ores which are present in nature are formed by the elements of group number 16, hence this group is named as chalcogens also. So these are some specific names given to some specific periods, not to all. Now these S and P block elements, these S and P block elements are known as main group elements, because most of the properties are studied about these elements only. Most of the reactions which we are performing are also based on these groups. This group, that is S block as well as P block. So S and P blocks are known as main group elements or also known as representative elements, okay. So either these are known as main group or representative elements. As I told that S block elements are mostly metallic in nature. Similarly, P block elements are mostly non-metallic in nature. Most of them are non-metals, though there are some metals also in this group, but most of them are non-metals. Some are metalloids also, okay. Metalloids also means having properties of some properties of metals and some properties of non-metals, okay, like germanium is an example of it. So later on we will talk about it. Now we come to D block elements. Now in D block elements, which starts from group number 3rd to group number 12, these D block elements are known as transition elements. The name for these elements is transition elements. These are called transition elements because these all elements have their P subshell completely full, either in these all have their P subshell incompletely, not completely, incomplete, okay, either in the normal state or any of the oxidation states. Then they will be known as transition elements. Clear? In all these elements, if we see, then there will be electron going in the D subshell, as well as one more thing is there, that because D subshell is never the main subshell, it is always one less than the main subshell, hence it is transition, okay. Or you can say penultimate shell. The shell which is not the main shell is penultimate shell. So electron enters in the penultimate shell because if it is 4s, this is 3d where the electron is going. Okay. Now let us see if we talk about electronic configuration for these first transition series, this is first transition series, second transition series, third transition series, and fourth transition. So we have in all 4 transition series or 4 transition periods. Yes.
Can you please repeat the definition?
Just 1 minute. Okay. Repeating. Okay. So if we see scandium, we will see that calcium is 20. Calcium is 20 means what? See, simply you can see 4s1, 4s2. That means 4s2 will be the configuration for calcium, and then scandium will have one shell less than the main shell, 3d, and 1 electron will be here, 3d1. Okay. So definition itself will come out. See, 3d1, it has incompletely filled d subshell, only 1 electron, not completely full. Then titanium, that is 22. So it is 4s2, 3d2, incompletely filled d orbital. Vanadium, what will be its configuration? 3d3, again incompletely filled d orbital. Chromium, 24. We discussed its electronic configuration, that instead of 3d4 it is 3d5, and instead of 4s2 it will be 4s1. We have discussed it for chromium. Manganese is 25, so it is 3d5. Iron is 26, so it is 3d6. Cobalt is 3d7. Nickel is 3d8. Copper is 3d9, or you can say it is 3d10, 4s1. Okay. So this is the electronic configuration. Now comes zinc. So this is 4s2, 3d10. This is the configuration of zinc. Now the definition for transition elements, that all those elements which have incompletely filled d orbitals either in their normal state or in any of their oxidation states, then those are known as transition elements. Now we will understand the meaning of this statement. We have seen the electronic configuration of all. Okay. Now you can see 3d3, 3d4, 3d5, then 3d6, 3d7, 3d8. We came to copper, and then we came to zinc. This is for copper, this is for zinc. Now in case the definition is that those elements which have incompletely filled d orbitals in normal state or ground state or any of their oxidation states. So if I see to copper, its configuration is 4s1, 3d10. If I see to copper in its ground state, its d orbital is completely filled. So it should not be a transition element. Okay. But copper is a transition element. Why? Because the definition is it should have incompletely filled d orbital either in the ground state or any of its oxidation state. So if I see oxidation state of copper, we have 2 oxidation states, Cu plus 1, Cu2 plus. These are 2 oxidation states. When copper will form Cu1 positive, electron will be lost from where? S. This I told you, that filling of D takes place before S. But when electrons are to be removed, they will be first removed from outer. 4 is outer to 3. So it is outside. It is built outside in the atom. So electron will be removed from it. So Cu1 positive will have configuration 4s0, 3d10. In this condition also it has completely filled d orbital. Okay. But when I come to Cu2 positive, 1 electron is removed from here and 1 will be removed from this. So Cu2 positive will have means electronic configuration 4s0, 3d9. Now it has incompletely filled d orbital, not in ground state but in its oxidation state, Cu2 positive. Clear? Hence copper is a transition element. But zinc is not. Why zinc is not? Because if I write configuration of zinc, though it is present here, scandium 2 zinc, group number 12, and we told that these all elements are known as transition elements. In the elements in which the last electron is going in d and they have incompletely filled d orbitals. Zinc is 4s2 3d10. Zinc's oxidation state is Zn2 positive. We have no other oxidation state for zinc. Zn2 positive is the only. So 2 electrons lost, they will be lost from S and its configuration will be 4s0. Its oxidation state also is having completely filled d orbital. So out of all the elements which are present here, all are d block elements. Scandium to zinc, yttrium to cadmium, all. But if we talk about transition element, then transition element, this 12th group you will not include in transition elements. This you have to keep in mind. Though it is a d block element because the last electron is going in d. So zinc, cadmium, mercury are d block elements, but they are not transition elements. They cannot be called transition elements. Rest all, copper, silver, gold. Copper, if you see in the normal state, you will be confused that copper is 4s1 3d10, so it is also not transition. But we talked that according to definition, if even in its oxidation state it is showing incompletely filled d orbital, then it can be called as transition element. So we can call it. Okay. So this is about the d block element. Clear? Now we saw that whenever d block element filling of the electrons is taking place, first filling of 4s will take place, then filling of 3d will be taking place, and then filling of 4p will take place. So outer electronic configuration of d block elements can be written as ns 1 to 2. Why 1 to 2? Because sometimes when we have stable oxidation state, this 2 becomes 1, as it has become in case of copper. That copper should be 4s2 and 3d9, but actually copper is 4s1 3d10. So both the type of possibilities are there. So ns 1 to 2, either 1 or 2 electrons, and n minus 1 d 1 to 10. This is outer electronic configuration for d block elements. Okay, ns 1 to 2, n minus 1d, because this is 4s, so this is 3d. So n minus 1d 1 to 10. Okay. Now the elements of d block, they are different. These are mostly metals. These all are mostly metals. But these metals are different from these metals which are present in group number 1 and group number 2 in many senses. Why they are different? Because these metals which are present in d block have d orbitals also, or you can say d subshells also associated with them. These metals which are present in s block, they don't have any d subshell associated. These d subshells which are associated with these elements, transition elements, are giving them extra properties which are not visible in these elements. Okay, though these are also metals. So these are colored metals. This is specific. They show variable oxidation state. On the other hand, these metals have only one oxidation state, but here we will see many are showing oxidation state variable. Okay, so these properties are on account of presence of d orbital or d subshell, which is not present in these. Okay, so this we will see later when we come in detail, but this much is clear that these are also metals, these are also metals, but both of them are a different category of metals, not alike. Okay, now comes the last, that is F block elements. Now in F block elements, if we see, what will happen? See, the 6th and 7th period are the periods which have these 6th and 7th period. Part of this 6th and 7th period is this also, where electrons are going in F. Now, the filling of F orbitals is not just uniform or according to the principle of that N plus L rule, or you can say Above principle of filling of electrons. Somewhere some rules are broken when filling of F orbitals or F subshells takes place. In case of cesium, if we see, if it is 6, if this one is 6, so it will be 6s1. Okay. For barium, if we come, it should be 6s2. Okay. Now, when 6 is the main shell, what will be the F? F should be 2 less than the main shell. So, now after 6s1, 6s2, the filling of 4f should take place, and then filling of 5d should take place. And when these two are filled, that means from here, this is lanthanum, this is the part of D block, this one, and its atomic number 55, 56, 57, and then after 57, 58, 59 till 71 lutetium is here, and then 71, after 71 hafnium 72 is present again in D. So this is continuation. First element which is coming here is coming in the D, and then the rest of the electrons are entering in F. So 6s1, 6s2, 4f will be filled, 5d will be filled, and when these two are completed, then it will be 6p, 1 to 6. 6p, 1 to 6 will be filled. This should be the filling in case of 6th. So what will happen from here? When there is lanthanum having atomic number 57, which is placed in the D block, you can see. So first, according to energy, what is there? According to energy, what is there? That first 4f should be filled, and then electron should go in 5d. Okay, but what will happen here? That first the electron will go in, one electron will go in 5d. Okay, and then when we come to cerium here, then the first electron will enter in this. Now when it comes to cerium, electronic configuration becomes 6s1, 6s2 is already there, so we can write directly 6s2. Now for lanthanum, the configuration was 6s2, 5d1. 5d1. There was no electron in 4f. Though according to energy rules, the electron should go in first 4f, but it will go in 5d first because it is here. After that, it will come to this cerium, and for cerium, the electronic configuration will be 4s2, 4f2. Means the electron which had gone in 5d1 will again shift back to f. So one electron will in f, and one from here will come, and it will become 4f2, 5d0, and then later on 6p will be filled. It is clear? This is the configuration, and then it will continue 4s2, then 4f3 and 4f. Okay. 4f3, 4f4, and so on till 4f14 will be filled, and then 4f14 will be filled, then electron again will start entering in 5d again. Clear? Now the next series, that is the period number 7. Okay, now we come to period number 7. In period number 7, if we see, the same thing will happen. This is 7s1, this is 7s2. Now actinium is the part of D block, so it will be 7s2. Then what should be the F in this case? When 7 is S is 7, so it should be 5f and 6d, and then 7p will be filled later. Okay, Then in this case, what should be there? After 7s, 5f should be occupied and then 6d should be filled. But again, what will happen? That first one electron will go in 6d. Okay, then the configuration of actinium is 6d1, 7s2, 6d1. Then electron will start filling in thorium, because actinium is 89 and atomic number 90 is thorium, which is present in F block. Now in case of thorium, what should be the configuration? 7s2. Now because if it is a F block element, its configuration should be either 5f1, 6d1, because 1 was here, or it may be that this should shift here. But actually the configuration of thorium is not this. The configuration of thorium is 5f3d2. Means instead of going electron in F, though it is a F block element, but still in case of thorium there is no electron in F. Why it is so? In case of this, it is like this because when we come to the shape of, or you can say the structure of atom, what will be there? That 5f is outer, okay, then 5f is inner and 6d is outer, because fifth number of shell, sixth number of shell and seventh number of shell will be formed like this. Now because the size of atom has become bigger and bigger, then what is happening? If electron, instead of entering in this, electron has entered in 7s2, now the next filling of what should take place? F. But instead of F, the electron is going in D, we said. First it went 661 and then it became 62. This is done to stabilize the core. When the size of the atom becomes bigger, then what happens? If there is no attraction between the outer electrons and the inner core, then the atom will be destabilized and it will not be stable to accommodate more electrons. So to stabilize the structure means from outside we are first creating a pull so that it becomes stable. So instead of entering the electron in 5f, first the electrons are allowed to go in 6d. 2 electrons. After 2 electrons have entered in 6d, now the attraction of these 2 electrons and these 2 electrons is sufficient enough to hold the atom in place and it becomes stable, and then filling of 5f starts. So here again our Bohr principle is violated. Clear? So thorium will have 62, 7s2. Now later it starts with filling of f orbitals. Okay? So this is about the filling of So for outer electronic configuration of these F block elements, we can write Ns2, N-2, F 0 to 14. Okay, sometimes it is 0 and N-1, D 0 to 2. Means in case of F block elements, filling of sometimes in D either no electron will be there or 1 or 2 electrons can be there, and in F sometimes 0 and till 14 they can be filled. So this is outer electronic configuration for F block.